Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah!
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Youth Ministry Garage. I'm Josh. This is my friend Matt. This is Katie.
Dual hosted.
And this is Doug Fields. Doug is a cardboard cutout today.
Remember when he had that happening youth pastor goatee?
Oh, look at that.
So great.
This is the first time in history.
How many podcasts have we done? 219?
219. Doug has been
18?
Doug is 219.
Okay.
Doug has been present at every single one.
Yep.
Except today. So this is history in the making. It might be the only time we ever do
People just
this.
tuned out right now.
Yeah, they're like,
I'm out.
delete.
That's great.
That's a great show. Well, we'll see you next
they're
week.
missing.
It's weird that you guys are across from each other. It's like I'm sitting at your dinner table.
Well,
with
you know, I could actually go for some food right now. We're here. We've got the questions. Matt and I are going to alternate the questions.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm worried. But we know that Katie's here, so the show is going to be great. I don't know why I've decided to face the camera this time.
Because you feel like the host. Why don't you start off by telling us what the rubber band is for?
The rubber band is for one of our students. I think I already shared this before. It's one of our students who is in the Major League Baseball draft next week.
Nice.
And he just wanted to be humble, and so he wrote a message on this rubber band, and I wear it until whatever.
Until the draft?
That's great.
Until the draft or this rubber band
eternity.
breaks. Yeah, maybe forever. I'm kind of stuck with it now.
So if he doesn't get drafted, he'll be real humble.
That'll teach him. Right there.
That'll teach him.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We're thankful for our sponsors. Youth Specialties, our primary sponsor, or the garage is powered by them.
Powered
Doug's
by.
cardboard cutout is in the way.
Hey, everybody.
Thankful for youthministry360.com, leadertreks.com, Azusa Pacific University, and the show is hosted by Remedy Live. So thankful to all of our sponsors.
Very thankful.
So real quick before we jump in, I have a note from Youth Specialty that says use discount code YMGarage1 to get the National Youth Workers Convention for the cheapest price ever possible. There you go.
Okay.
All right, should we jump into questions?
Yes.
How'd that get
I
in here?
feel like I don't know.
You don't know what's happening.
I don't know. All right. Matt, you want to go first?
I got kind of a heavy one.
Oh, I'll go first.
Okay.
All right.
See, nothing's changed.
Hail to Queen Katie and her royal minions, Josh and Doug.
Oh.
And we can't forget about the court jester, Matt. Sorry, you got canned.
What in the world?
That's a good role to
Unbelievable.
play the funny person.
Jester?
I've been in youth ministry for about 9 years. I've just started a new position at a church with a very small youth ministry. I was wondering if you could share some ideas of some of the things you do to build momentum through the summer, since the group is smaller, and make excitement carry through to next school year. Typically, the summer is a hard time for programming. I want to get some fresh ideas, so thought I'd ask. So, summer momentum, summer programming, what do you do? Katie.
Summer is a real fun time, I think, to build momentum because students are out of school, so there's just a little bit more freedom to have fun with them and hang out. Something that we do is we stop our small groups. Both junior high and high school do that all summer, and you would think that would be a momentum killer, but I think it actually helps us out because it frees students up to kind of change it up a little bit in the summer. It gives leaders a break, and so really I would say the momentum is building all summer, and in the fall we do a huge kickoff when everybody comes back. The leaders are rested, students are pumped. So summer is just full of a lot of connection, relational time, fun, freedom.
Yep. Absolutely. I love
that
it.
kind of thing.
Looser office hours so we can
definitely.
be out with the people more. I like that. Matt, what would you do? Summer momentum?
Well, I agree 100%. That's what we've done for years, and I think it's great. The only thing I'd add to that is it seems like most youth ministries, not like I've done a national study or anything, but it seems like most youth ministries either stay the same or decline as far as numbers. And so I think that's okay for that to happen because that seems to be a normal thing. We have in the past, to add to what you said as far as like the fun and the relational and stuff like that too, is maybe do a couple more discipleship type stuff. We might do a week every day, a week long kind of a mini seminar series. I mean, we've never called that
collective, like pulling everybody together for like deeper teaching or whatever.
Yeah, like we used to do a Bible. Like I have a Bible Institute, and so we would do a couple of those classes. Or the adults at Saddleback, they've actually written a systematic theology class, which I think is really great, and we would teach that to students. And
nothing says summer fun and program like
systematic theology.
What else did we share with our readers? leaders. Holy smoke!
God.
Hey, I forgot to mention that question was brought to us by Nate Eckert from Camden, Indiana. Nate, aside from the systematic theology,
some part of youth ministry does involve teaching the Word of God, guys.
Sure does.
More
Right
than 3 points in a story.
It's actually all I do. I like the idea of using summer camp as a big momentum builder. We've put it at the end of summer for a long time, which I like to kind of build up to camp, and then camp rolls over into the fall. I've seen some ministries do it where camp is the first thing and it kicks off their summer. And we're actually in a weird place this year where, like last year, right in the middle.
Yeah.
So it will be more difficult for us to, I think, carry over into the fall, but it will make for a great summer. So
we're also doing a lot more like serving stuff too, just because kids have free time, so we just have a lot more serving opportunities.
Well, you can serve not just on the weekend or not just on spring break, so I like that a lot. Let me ask one more before we go heavy. Is that okay?
Yep.
This question is from Johnny Cabrera, Monterey
Not
Park,
okay, actually.
California.
I'd like to veto.
Too late. Hello, I have had a chance to meet Josh and Seth this past weekend. Seth, our producer, just off camera. Seth, you want to say hi to the folks back home? There. That's how he talks all the time. At the FAM/Reload conference on Friday night. Definitely in the top 10 highlights of the weekend.
Aww.
That's nice.
You're
top 10.
someone's top
Just the
10
weekend.
highlights.
Yeah, that's pretty weak, actually.
Yeah, top 5 would be like,
Top 10 of the year.
Top 10 of the year, I'd be down.
Would be pretty good.
Yeah, but still.
But top 10, obviously you didn't make an impression.
That's like I'm in.
Having
Top
Doug
10 of the
Fields remind me to focus on my own darn family was another one. There's currently a lot of tension between our youth leaders, mainly due to differing personalities, opinions, and levels of commitment. Aside from addressing the issue directly, what are some creative and inexpensive ways I can build unity and trust among our youth leaders? All right, so trying to build a volunteer team. There's a little bit of discord, disharmony, whatever. How do I build trust together? Creative ways, not systematic theology ways, but
right. Well, and they did say other than going direct, which
is where we would
like
all
the
default.
most.
Yeah.
Which some of us at this table, probably this half of the table, would do that.
Calling me out right now.
Yep.
He's being direct.
Well,
Not really.
So other than going direct and hitting issues head on, like the Bible and integrity call for, you could do I'm just kidding around. You could plan some fun stuff. Fun stuff where people get to know each other and can experience
Trust fall. Trust falls are good.
Trust falls are great right after the systematic theology. But the reality is that people are different and don't get along with each other, but that doesn't have to be a barrier to friendship. The more you know somebody else, the more you know where they come from and what they like and what they don't like and who they are. You have more compassion and you're more willing to be friends with that person. So I think personality conflicts, while I'm not sure having like one fun outing is going to solve that, for sure that can help. And I think you could do teaching. Yeah. You could teach on unity and the importance of overcoming differences and stuff like that. And just kind of hit it as a
look at people and
then point them out and say like, hey, you two guys hate each other.
For example,
like you're the gossip. And you're the person who divides. I like it. What would you do, Kate?
I think, to add to that, I love pulling everybody together, for a meal or whatever, pulling them out of the ministry setting a little bit to just build, build relationships, but also just, how clear are you with your expectations of them and what you're hoping, casting the vision for what you're hoping this team will do and accomplish. Like, I think there's some great, inspiring rah-rah moments that you can have with your leadership team of just telling them like this team could be great and here are the ways that we could be great. We're not quite there yet, but doing that collectively and giving everybody some places to go. But I think a lot of times too, pulling them out in pockets, like if you have 2 or 3 at a time too that you're taking out and just kind of hang out with and that kind of thing.
Make sure they get paired up during the 3-legged race.
Right after the trust fall.
That's right.
I would say, to me, the youth ministry volunteer team is a lot like family, and sometimes families fight and they don't like each other, they don't get along, and there's a few
always a black sheep.
There's always a black sheep, the run to the litter, but
drunk uncle.
But you love each other. And I would say cast the vision that your volunteer team is a family and that you love each other, and that although there is always some dysfunction or tension or issues, you're family, and so this
And
family
everyone
stick
doesn't
together.
need to be best friends and cry on each other's shoulders. So
Absolutely.
it depends on what kind of unity you're looking for.
Exactly.
And it's okay to invite people that they really don't love each other or don't love you as the leader. It's okay to invite
Yeah.
them to leave the family.
I did it. To
And that
leave
part,
the
the
family.
metaphor, kind of,
it's terrible.
de-adopt them out of the
But
family.
I mean, sometimes there are some
You have
volunteers
to.
that you can't get there with either.
I
so
agree. When I
that's-
inherited the high school ministry team at Saddleback, I inherited
Perfect.
an extremely dysfunctional team, and I was thinking of a creative or inexpensive way to address this literal.
Oh, you did. You had a horrible team.
And so what I did was I said
Nuggets.
the gold nuggets. Yeah, I said you guys are mining each conversation for gold nuggets that you can gossip and use to divide people and cut people down. And I said, here's a bag of gum, and I gave everybody a pack of gold nugget gum.
There's gold nugget gum.
Oh yeah, it's like
Nubbit.
San Francisco 49er kind of
Nice.
little miner gun. And I said, quit mining for stuff that you can gossip about or hurt people with.
Yep.
And put a piece of gold nugget gum in your mouth and shut up. And I threw them all a bag of gum, and it was like, oh,
Yeah.
like it. I called them out directly, but gave them a fun
creative,
little.
cheap.
Yeah, and it worked. And to be honest, a couple years later, some new people on the team felt some of the similar dysfunctions, and I said, guys, I got this gum for you that I want you, and I did it again. So
That's
anyhow,
perfect.
There's that. Really quick before we jump into yours, where
We're not
is
giving
Doug?
away anything for free.
Oh, Doug is.
Where's Doug?
Yeah, he's doing he just had another meeting that was scheduled that had been rescheduled a couple times, and it was one of those ones.
218 shows, though. I mean, this must be an important
He
meeting.
could not get out of it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was either he.
And we could not get out of this.
Well, we could not do a podcast, but then next week we have student leadership and then something else.
Yeah,
and so
no.
it's going to be a while. So
Well, here it is. All right.
here it is.
Okay, well, sorry that Doug's not here, but I think we're doing.
I'm not really sorry. I feel
okay.
like people aren't attacking me and criticizing. Actually, it's still early in the podcast.
I was going to say,
so
Sister
we'll see.
Theology said what?
Yeah, you're right.
All right,
You're
what do you got, Maddie?
Okay, so this one, I mean, it's just a little bit heavier. It says, please don't read my name, so we're not gonna. But his email is just, hey
Don't read my
team,
email either.
Matt, sorry you got canned. Thank you.
Oh.
I recently, 1 month ago, took a youth position at an older church with some struggles. We had talked for about a year with the senior pastor. The senior pastor and I had talked extensively for about a year before that time. He had talked about the hard changes that needed to take place and his dream for the ministry that the church could have. I'm kind of summarizing some of these sentences here. I was excited to be a part of something big. Last week, he resigned. So he's 3 weeks into a new
Yikes.
job, and senior pastor resigns. He had it with the deacon board and the leadership. During that meeting, I found out some nasty things that make me want to run. Secret meetings, not reimbursing, slamming him behind his back, etc. Do I just bolt and find a new place, or do I stick around through the transition? Thanks for all you do. So
Wow.
crazy, huh?
So
That's crazy.
hard.
Yeah, so I've been talking with the senior pastor for a long time.
Yeah.
For
So I
a year
wonder if
before-
they've been going to the church for a long time. Because that's a long time to talk to somebody
Oh,
about a
yeah.
position. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like maybe they were already volunteers there or something.
Yeah,
or
maybe, but it sounds like they kind of know what was going on.
Yeah.
Interesting that the senior pastor didn't lead in, or didn't let him know
Yeah.
that some of the troubles were there.
I agree. They're all of a sudden one day just up and quit.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So there's the stated question is, do I leave or do I stay? But I think the real question is how do you handle this situation? What do you
Yeah.
think? One of you guys goes first.
Well, one of you guys?
One of you guys.
Interesting. Well, I would say just because someone, there's dysfunction in every church. So if you're looking for a perfect church,
Right.
run from this one, go to the next one. You're going to find
Something to run from
something
there.
to run from there too.
Yeah.
So my heart would immediately say, don't run now.
Yeah, you just got there.
You just got there. You just got settled. God has at least called you there for this moment. Maybe for the transition of the new senior leader who's going to come in. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say at least stick it out through there, and then you've got a little more clarity, a little more perspective, and a little bit of time to just make sure, you don't want to make a emotional decision that you'll regret when you kind of come down off of it.
Yeah.
So I'd say at the very least, stay for now. Believe that God's called you there for now.
Yeah.
And get to the other side of the emotion and also the transition.
I think the tough thing too is there is always two sides to every story.
Right.
So depending on there's obviously some things that weren't shared with you, maybe on both sides of the coin. So, really even to let those things settle and, I mean, it's just a tough time to make a decision when you really probably don't have all the facts.
It is a warning, though, because if it happened to someone else, if that's how they treat and value people, that is how they are going to treat and value you.
For sure.
So there is definitely a message and a learning, and when your time is done at this church, they are going to chew you up, spit you out, and you're done. Now, we don't know exactly what happened to the senior pastor.
Yeah.
But if it was, he or she deserved to be let go, they would have made that more public.
Yeah.
So there's something beneath the surface that's going to come back around and get you. It's kind of like that if someone's gossiping to you and they're gossiping about you. So I would say this is an indication of how they value and treat people. All people.
Yeah.
So look out.
You really need to search your heart of just, is God prompting you to leave, or do you just want to leave because everything you thought was happening is over? I mean, really, like you said, if God brought you here, you probably didn't hear him saying, it's only for 3 weeks though.
Exactly.
I mean, so just really kind of searching out.
But I mean, honestly, that's the question, and that's the tough thing to discern.
Sure.
I think that, maybe God did bring him there, and not necessarily to stay long term. And maybe, I just think it's hard to speak definitively.
Absolutely.
And I don't think you guys are, because you know what? Actually, if he leaves right now, that sends a message to that elder board.
To the elder board as well. Sure.
And is that a powerful message? Maybe not, but it's a lot of times that's your only option.
Yeah.
You can't put up, so you leave.
Yeah. Well, don't you think if you see some patterns repeating, like if all of a sudden your reimbursements are getting challenged or whatever,
that's a big. I would say that's a big deal. Like that's a pretty cut and dry.
Is he talking about himself, or he's talking about He's not talking about himself.
No,
so
he said, "Should I leave?"
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, when it's coming to everything that was happening behind the scenes was happening with the senior pastor. It's not happening to him. So I think, it's tough to be in a tough spot of like, well, this is happening to so and so, and yes, you're right. I think you need to be aware of how everybody's being treated, but. I mean, what's happening to you? Is anything happening in your world right now that makes you think, I've got to get out
These
now?
are some big warning signs.
There could be some warning signs to think through with what's happening with others, but I don't know.
Well, and the reality is, too, this isn't a situation that feels safe and feels like you'd really be trusted, and that is a really hard place to do ministry.
Totally.
For 2 years I was at Mariners, I was too dumb or blissful the first year to realize that I wasn't really trusted, but the second year I figured it out. And so the second year was really hard, to be doing ministry in a place where you're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't know that this is safe. It can be really tough.
Sure.
So
totally. Do you want to give that person something? Since we can't give their name away, can we send them a present from one of our...
Yes.
I feel like we should give away more stuff than usual.
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
Let's give away some of Doug's stuff.
Yeah. Well, I have a good question where we can give away something perfect from Doug to him.
Okay. I got another no-namer after this.
Oh, wow.
I got the heavy ones.
All right, here we go.
No pun intended.
Hey there, my name is Chad from Manteca, California. I've been loving the show as I've been working my way through the podcasts. Wow. I'm being considered for my first full-time youth pastor position, want to be strategic in reaching out to the guys in our community. I've had some great internship opportunities, but I noticed that the groups I joined numerically reached a lot more girls than guys. As I think about the design of this new group, what should I consider to be strategic in creating an atmosphere which is appealing to both guy and girls? What do we think there? Do you have more? What percentage of girls do you have in?
There's always more girls going to church.
There's always more girls. I would say.
At every level.
60-40 maybe.
I would say 60-40. Yeah.
I mean, with the
at
adults.
Most of my events and everything too. I think.
High school, junior high.
There's
always more girls.
We go global. We're 90% girls, 10% guys.
Yeah. It's really interesting to me because the number of girl cabins at summer camp is significantly higher than the guy cabins. So part of me would immediately respond to this and say, don't freak out just yet.
Yeah.
But I think that there is
Don't start using only sports analogies.
Exactly. But how do I attract guys to be a part of our ministry when we know they are the lesser percentage?
Stop having Twilight movie nights.
That seems reasonable.
Are you talking to yourself or?
Hey. Just
what do you do?
All the Twilight movies.
Yeah.
What do you guys do?
I've never had a thought of how do I reach more guys or more girls. I mean, in the years I've done ministry. So
We were on a missions trip not too long ago, and there was, whatever, X number of girls and a guy.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, huh.
Yeah,
I would
I mean,
really
did
like
you-
it if there were more guys.
Did you ask any guys to go on the trip?
No.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just did our normal blanket announcement.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
15 girls and a guy, or whatever.
Well, I think there are certain things though that the genders kind of respond a little bit to. Like,
Sure.
I with Africa, for some reason, girls just have this like nurturing kind of point of view towards What's happening,
Oh,
Seth?
Seth.
Oh, Seth.
Hold on.
Seth just flubbed on the show right there.
Wow. There's a silent button.
It's an app called
You're lucky
HeyTell.
this guy isn't here.
No, he's hate-telling with that guy right now.
Wow.
Wow.
He's listening in on us. So he can't be here, but he's got a spy.
Oh.
There's a
He's
spy.
been Skyping.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's so
beautiful.
wow. 218
Wow.
shows.
Wow.
We've never done one without him, and he won't trust
Yeah.
us for 30
This
minutes.
place is
Seriously.
probably bugged.
I'm going to hate-tell him right now.
Do it.
Hey, dude, we're doing a podcast right now. If you could not interrupt us or Seth, that would be...
Matt, put down your phone.
Josh
He's
just
gonna
wanted you to
hate
feel
y'all back,
at
so
home.
All right. So what else can we do to reach more guys?
Guys, it's funny. I think youth ministry in general is programmed for guys a little
Yeah.
bit more than girls. Not that I don't think like everybody's sexist or anything like that. I just think
Is there a soapbox? What's
I
happening?
know totally. I just think
You're the
there
furthest thing from that.
there just is. I just think guys
Yeah.
are a little bit easier to program.
No,
for.
I agree.
And girls, I think we do some specific things for girls, but when you're thinking of like your crowd program or whatever, a lot of times we're thinking about guys.
Absolutely.
Maybe I don't
Yes.
know. I mean,
Yes.
I just feel like
Yeah.
So
don't
I
you
don't
think,
think-
a great way to bring guys to youth ministry is have girls there?
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of my friends in high school came to church because of that. I think if this is something that you really feel like is a need that you need to go after, do a couple guys only events.
Yeah.
Do
A guys trip or
a
something.
guys trip. We used to do
Guys
motor
trip
road
super
trip.
fun.
and we got 20 guys and jumped in motorhomes and went all over California. It was great.
well, even guys small groups.
Or I was just gonna say, start a guys small group. Years ago, we did something called Sports Talk, which was kind of
Cool.
a light small group for it was kind of like FCA but in the church.
Cool.
And yeah, so
I love it. We love dodgeball, kill ball, we call it, and that is at least in our setting very guy centered.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guys come pack the place out, and the girls watch, and a few girls will play.
Yeah.
But that is a night where dudes show up.
yeah.
So
testosterone's flowing.
it
You
is.
guys actually
Oh, yeah.
think I do a good job of
So what do you
hitting
do in
all
that
the different
environment, Josh?
spectrums of guys because you do like your video game like Halloween or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and then
Oh,
you do football.
Halloween was great.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like you
HSM
kind
ball,
of
kill ball,
sports,
Halloween.
video
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
So I think guys nowadays it's hard to program for one type
I
of student.
totally
There's just
agree.
so many.
Well, and we are very active and
Likes.
present at sporting events too. So I think that's a great way. If you
Yeah.
want to reach guys, go to where the dudes are. They're playing sports. They're having
Yep.
a good time. So that's a little bit of a generalization, but whatever.
Yeah.
Mine's don't read my name too. So you go.
Oh, great. You're gonna give me a chance to read one.
Nope, not anymore. Hey, please don't read my name. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, Doug, please don't read my name. He didn't tell me not to read his name, so maybe no. Just kidding.
Let's let it spill. There
Hey
we go.
Matt, sorry you got canned. So thank you very much for your compassion.
Still.
Many of us garage dwellers have learned so much through this transition in your life. Thank you for sharing with the team. Now with the question. You're welcome. Mi casa su casa.
My garage is your garage.
Mi garage. I've been at my church for 2 years. My senior pastor has a great heart and great intentions. I'm not sure if those are two different things or two similar things. We constantly talk about great ideas to move church forward, but we never do them. All these great intentions stay as intentions. I'm young enough to be my senior pastor's son, so there's a disconnect. So there is a disconnect. How do I lead up and help the church go forward? Thanks for all the advice you can give.
That's awesome.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it seems like it seems like we get this fairly often, where there's a youth pastor who's usually a little bit more on the younger side in comparison to the senior pastor, and the senior pastor's been there for a while and is a little bit tired, burned out, committee meetings,
right,
all sorts
done
of
trying to
stuff.
make change,
Yeah.
all that he or she could do.
And so that can be really frustrating to be at a place where the senior pastor isn't on fire.
I actually had a very similar experience to that really early in ministry. I've served at 2 churches, so this is my church in Michigan. And what I realized my senior pastor was doing in that moment, he was not talking about our church and this moment. He was talking theoretically. He was talking what if. He was bouncing ideas off me. Now, when he's bouncing an idea off me, I'm thinking this is going to happen. Like next week, we're going to a contemporary service finally.
Right.
And he was brainstorming and dialoguing, and they were not his intentions.
Yeah.
I found out later and was able to process and go, oh.
He was just trying to shine you on?
Well, no, just have a great conversation about ministries and what
He's
if.
processing ministry, and you're his only guy.
Processing verbally some thoughts and ideas and risks and whatever, and I would walk away disappointed. I'm like, why are we still using a hymnal? Like, I feel like we can at least go to an overhead projector or something. And we were still using hymnals, and he had no intention of changing.
Yeah,
so,
I call that shine you on.
Okay, maybe. I would say
talking about great ideas with no intention of ever.
But haven't you ever had a moment where you're kind of just like talking something out loud, and you're not totally sure if that's where you want to go, and so you're just kind of like venting something out.
That's what I would say.
But doing that occasionally.
Occasionally and often, I guess, are different.
Right.
True. But
and the same things over and over again.
He feels like he's being misled.
Right.
And I'm saying I felt that same way and realized later, no, we were just talking ministry together. That's one of the ways that he led, was in discussions and ideas. And eventually the church did make some of those steps, but it was 5, 6, 7 years after I heard about it.
Yeah, 10 years too late.
Exactly. Oh, sorry, Doug.
Sorry, Doug. Just kicked him. Don't say that. I'm kicking him under the
He's
table.
so quiet today.
It's nice, isn't it? I cut you off a little bit, which for none of us is surprised. I think we're all cutting off each other a little bit, which is great.
Nobody's regulating us today, so.
That's right.
The
deregulated podcast.
Put the hand down and be like,
that's what this is. That's beautiful. That's what we need to
We're just
title
in chaos.
Wait, Doug's probably going to tell Seth and be like, put your hand on his shoulder.
Yeah.
He asked me to take a cell phone from the table.
Exactly.
But you started to say, don't we ever process, don't you ever process out loud and just think through something or vent? And then you also said, and the people who work under us.
I just think there are times the people that I'm leading, I think sometimes they are everything I'm saying they're taking as law, so to speak, or like Katie wants this, or we've got to execute this, or
right.
You said that one time that you wanted the shirts to be blue, and I'm like, I don't even know. We were just talking about shirts, you know. So there are times where I feel like as leader I'm throwing stuff out, but I'm kind of just like, what if we did this, or what about this? I don't know. Maybe we could go in this direction, you know. And not that that's all the time. So you're right. There's a difference between
there's a huge difference.
Occasionally having those conversations with people you're leading, and all the time having the same conversation over and over again of what if. So I mean, I get the difference between that for sure.
Yeah.
What if you came to the next meeting with, hey, we talked the last couple times about X, Y, and Z. Here's what I've brought to the table. Here's some steps that we could do to implement that idea and see what happens.
Right. Yeah.
So try to own it.
Take responsibility.
Take
Don't
the ball
wait
down
for the
field
authority.
a little ways. There's a sports analogy, just trying to reach the guys.
Well, and in years of working for Doug, like the first 12 years of my ministry life, he was a constant fount of ideas.
Blessing.
Fount or font? Anyhow, tons of ideas were shooting all over the place out of all sorts of orifices.
Yeah, exactly.
And my
feels weird.
That's an edit.
My thing is, what I would say to him, I mean, I would keep track of stuff, and I would want to make stuff happen. I mean,
sure.
That's what my calling in my life was at that time. And so he would say something, I'd be like, great, okay, we're going to go do it. He would say something, and we'd go and do it. And then finally, it became a thing. It's like, okay, he would tell me something, I'd say, okay, here's the deal. It's the exact opposite of what you said 3 months ago. Are you sure you want to do it? Okay, you do. Great, we can do it. But then the 3 things you said 2 weeks ago aren't going to happen. So here it is. Bam, 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 and bam. What do you want to have done? Because they all can't happen.
Sure.
And I didn't say it in a way that's like making excuses, or I mean, if
No,
you was
it's
here,
like
that's
we
where
want
the
to
jokes would
execute
come.
the vision.
Right.
But it
Help
would
us do that.
Yeah, there's limited resources. There's things that we can't do, and so obviously in this situation, you're not the executor for the senior pastor for the whole church's vision, and so I totally get that, and that's great. But I do love the idea of saying, hey, let's take the ball let's run with one of these ideas.
The one you have the most energy towards, own it. But own it quietly enough that if the senior pastor says, hey, we were just throwing around ideas, that you haven't made him or her look bad too.
Well, and continue to lead up in your own ministry setting. I think some of the things that you can do, and putting some of maybe you're implementing some of those in the youth ministry.
Totally.
And then the senior pastor is seeing some of those things in action. And like, hey, that's really cool.
I like it.
Hold on to it with a loose grasp, because anything you serve up, you can spend hours on hours on something, and then all of a sudden your hopes is dashed to the ground.
It's true.
But they're like, nope, we're not doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like,
do you want to give that person something from Leader Treks? That'd be cool. One of our
we
sponsors.
gave someone the last time something from Leader Treks.
Oh, we did?
You said, let's give them some.
Oh, wow. Well, Leader Treks,
let's give them something from Leader Treks.
Very good.
There you go.
All right.
What do we want to give them something from somebody else?
Yeah, you have like
360.
Youth Ministry 360 is going to give them
a item. There's going to be an item that they will get.
The new Elements curriculum would be awesome.
Well, you can get a free Elements if you go to youthministry.com/elements. You can get a free Bible study on holiness.
So youthministry360.
Yeah, that's what
.com/elements.
That's say youthministry.com?
Yeah.
That's the old website we used to blog for. youthministry360/elements.
There you go.
Supposed to do.
Another senior pastor
You looked
question.
at me like that was really bad.
No, I just was.
You write for Youth Ministry 360.
I do.
Or youthministry.com. You write for something.
Please don't read my name. Okay, thank you. I write for downloadyouthministry.com.
That's right.
Dear Garage,
By the time this gets up, huh?
My senior pastor is the church version of Michael Scott from The Office. That's fun.
What is wrong with that?
Or maybe George Steinbrenner as portrayed in Seinfeld. All right, that'll work too. I'm sure I'm not the only. No, I said I'm sure I'm the only youth pastor who feels this way. I'm a full-time youth pastor in a small church of a couple hundred people, and following that is struggling to transition away from traditional ministry approaches. We're in the trenches of music changes, really hurting financially. My senior pastor is constantly pitching us, me and the other staff member, harebrained ideas that we frankly cannot see where he's coming from.
So maybe the senior pastor's office Prozac.
It is a really similar question. This is interesting. Every month there's a new idea or new direction. The other staff member and I look across the table and roll our eyes. My question, how do I handle my senior pastor? I feel like I'm constantly being negative, always shooting down his ideas. I feel like I'm being a disservice to the church, to him, if I don't speak up. How do we point him to books to read, etc.? What should I do? Do you know of any open student ministry positions?
Oh.
Wow.
So the end of
Actually,
the email
shout out back to San
has
Clemente is looking for somebody, right?
its own question.
Exactly. Well, there's one answer. Leave the church and get a new job. I would say do something to help the church. Get on board. That's a leader that God has brought to that church. Help him, in this case, lead. Help him get through the transition. Or
Is this a new senior pastor too?
no, I didn't think so.
Okay.
I would say either help them transition from traditional, whatever that means, to more contemporary, or get off the bus. It's okay. The pastor wants to go there, is obviously incapable of leading it there himself, and has a new idea of the week, is reading every latest thing he can. So he needs help. Help him.
Yeah.
Or don't. Or jump.
Yeah.
I think it's really simple.
I'm a huge believer in authority. I mean, I just don't like most of the authorities out there, but I believe that but I believe that's important, though.
When you're the authority, you really believe in that person.
Well, that goes without stating. But I mean, I with all the jokes aside, I mean, that was my thing at Mariners. I mean, it was one of those things where, like, hey, if I'm not lined up with what you guys are saying, let me know. If I'm not lined up, then great, okay, that's fine. I'll move on, And I think that if you add a church, you follow the leader. I mean, I think that my days at Saddleback, it's like, you know what, Rick is leading the charge, and if this is what he wants to do and where we're going to go, then we're going to follow it as a ministry.
Right.
And the second, and it's maybe the second is a little bit dramatic, but I love that.
Absolutely.
The absolute nano moment that you decide you can't follow that leader. I mean, that's a process. You need to get off the bus.
Yeah.
I definitely, for the process, probably should begin in this case with what's next.
Yeah.
For you,
If you're rolling your eyes or you're looking across the table for someone else to roll their eyes with
negative,
you.
shooting down everything.
Don't go talk to the elder board and get them voted out.
Right. Get on the bus or get off the bus.
Yeah.
Because you're right now right in between.
Yeah.
And you're getting paid by the church and you're not on board. I mean, talk about a disservice to the pastor and beyond, I'd say.
How many people, I mean, there's a lot of people like that in ministry, though, that are afraid to let go of...
A lot of people work at churches they wouldn't attend.
Yeah, which is strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very common, but strange and unhelpful.
But also that's part of it. I mean, part of that. Since it is so common, is there
something that's broken?
Well, yeah. I mean, or is there something? Yes, absolutely, there is something broken. But is there an inevitability to that when you have one generation and things are being passed to the next, there's always going to be challenge. There's always going to be discontent.
Right.
I mean. So maybe it's impossible, is what I'm saying, for it to be 100%. 100% of the youth workers out there love their church that they would go to. I mean, maybe that's just not possible, and there's a part of it that's okay in the sense that that's how things change.
Sure.
So
right.
That would be bummed.
That's the irony. The young become the old and replace the old.
Youth is wasted on the young, is what I like to say.
We're becoming the old right now.
You know what? I actually thought that today. I was like,
oh, you guys are super old.
No, we know.
Honestly.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
But
although in my church, everyone calls me young. It's great. I mean, it's a little bit sad.
Should we take the trash out for Doug? I just
the
truck just pulled up.
That's fine. Okay, I got a question.
All right, last question.
Last question. This is the last one.
Last one. I hope they
Paul.
get
This is the first name I get to read, so I'm sure I'll hack it. Paul Byford, or Beford, from Prescott, Arizona.
Arizona. All right.
What's AR? Is that Arizona or Arkansas? What's AR? Anybody know?
Oh, it is Arkansas. AZ and A.
AZ and AR. I'm sorry, Southern California. I'm an idiot when it comes to the world. Hey guys, love the show and everything you do for the kingdom. I'm not sure how much the show does for the kingdom. Yeah, but don't quote me on that. I have a small group question.
A show that doesn't do much for the kingdom. I've wasted 220 hours of my life on this show, so let's say that it's doing some good for the kingdom.
Lukewarm work for the kingdom. Okay, here we go.
Doing marginal stuff since episode 1.
Is that our tagline for the show?
Seriously.
Just enough youth ministry to not affect the kingdom at all. Thanks, Matt.
Oh, no.
No wonder Doug's not here.
Seriously, he's doing some kingdom work somewhere.
Read the question.
I'm trying. Just trying. No, here we go. I have a small group question I've been throwing around in my head for a while. I've got a group of 40 to 50 kids in our ministry for our Wednesday night gathering. Typical, and it's junior high school. Typically, our nights consist of an opening game, a worship time, then some preaching. A lot of our kids, usually the older ones, are longing for a more conversational discussion format. I'm that way as well, but I'm not sure. Oh, I can't read the English here. I'm not sure. I don't have to tell you how difficult it can be to moderate a discussion with 40 teenagers. So I've been contemplating adding a small group discussion time where I would partner with a shorter, more focused lesson and then split into groups to discuss. My question is how would you split them in the groups? Totally random? Would you let them sign up with friends, same ages, diverse ages? There are so many possibilities out there. What do you think? I'm overthinking it, and am I overthinking it and just need to pick one? Thank you for your help. So I think there's a couple of things here. How to split people into groups is a really tough question. And so when you have a single ministry that has that wide from 7th graders to 12th graders, that is tough to lead a discussion. I think leading a discussion with 40 kids is not impossible, is not difficult. I used to have a Bible study at my house that was a slightly different format than our other Bible studies, but it was a discussion-based format. And we used to do that one together for a bunch of years. Yeah. But we would do discussion for an hour and a half, and and then only do small groups for a half hour.
Wow.
And that was
a great day.
it was great. And honestly, contrary to what I portray on this podcast, I would say very little. I mean, we would have some questions. I know it's hard to
Insert
believe.
Doug Field's comment right
That's
here.
right. So I think you can do discussion with 40 kids. I think it's really hard. I mean, when I'm done doing that, I mean, my mind is just completely exhausted because I'm just racing the whole time. But I'm not sure that could be done with a 7th grader and a 12th grader all the same. And so I, I mean, I'd want to try just to see how it goes. I mean, just because that could be a fun challenge.
Yeah.
But sticking to the question, and what do you guys think about?
I just think that do you want to break them up just to discuss what's happening in the message, or do you want them to be small groups that they're like caring for each other and kind of taking stuff away from the night? I think there's definitely different approaches to small group. If it's just a message discussion time, I think you can do that co-ed. I think you could maybe break it down by junior high and high school, or or maybe just do a guys group and a girls group or something like that. If you're looking to take that, for those groups to kind of coexist outside of the program and have like a leader that's caring for those students and that kind of thing, then I would say maybe dig a little bit deeper in how you break them down.
Yeah.
But I think if it's just a part of the night and you just want to have students have discussion about the message, I don't think you have to overthink it. I think
I was leaning that
real
same way.
simple.
Don't overthink it. Wherever they sit, whatever table they sit at,
to overthink something.
let them.
It's only possible to poorly think about something.
There you go. I think wherever they sit,
just
let them discuss the message. It could be
sit
awesome.
around tables and each table discusses the message.
And I think you might be surprised that some groups would even form naturally in that environment as well.
True.
Or you'd sit with your friends, you have great discussion, and then hey, we sit here again next week. Boom. You kind of have a little bit of a loose group right there.
And maybe you do 4 groups. You do a junior high boys and a junior high girls, and a high school boys and a high school girls, and that way you separate it out a little bit.
And if the group got bigger, where you could do upperclassmen, like
lower
split it as it grows.
So,
junior varsity kind of thing.
Yeah, or split it by schools.
That could be
because
cool.
it's good for. I think it's good for freshmen to be with seniors. I mean, seniors hate it, and so there's a fine balance there. But I think it's good because 1, freshmen aren't as squirrely, and 2, they get to see and learn and hear from older Christians, and that's a good chance for that to be modeled.
Really, there's 2 questions. One, is this a discussion of the message, or is this a small group? Mm-hmm. And if it's a small group, think more about it. Be way more intentional. If it's a discussion of the message, I think it can be a little more loose, organic, grassroots.
And I think to put it in language of purpose-driven, which we all know. Why are you laughing? What did I say?
I thought that was funny.
I mean,
I laughed at you laughing at it. I'm like,
to me, it depends on what kind of what purpose are you going after.
Yeah.
Like, do you want it to be a fellowship thing where people form deep connections with one another? Those groups are going to look different than if you want to do, some discipleship, more mental, more learning, more systematic theology type. I mean, I think you could do discipleship of what we're talking about, the learning, discovering more about the Bible, discussing message, that kind of discipleship. I think you can do that in a co-ed group.
Totally.
I mean, you could do that in a co-ed group. I think if you're forming deep relationships, you want these guys to be crying and sharing and talking about temptations, then guys and girls is probably not a great idea.
Absolutely.
So,
can we send them something from YS, from Youth Specialties?
we totally can.
Done.
We are right here. I just wrote YS.
All right, we just hand those to
I didn't
Seth.
write youthministry.com.
We're all set.
Didn't write Youth Ministry 360. I just wrote Youth Specialties.
And Seth, we're going to hand these to you. We don't know what's going to happen with them from here.
Yeah.
So if we promise you something,
And
without
you don't
Doug
get
here,
it,
the wheels are
it's
coming
all
off.
Seth's fault.
Yeah.
Seth will make sure. He totally gets things
I
done.
trust you.
Wheels are coming off this
You're
thing.
welcome.
Hey, do we need to wrap up with some of these things? Remedy Live, messyministry.com. That's really important for you to check out. It's a beta broadcast that has a conversation among youth workers about the more difficult issues in youth ministry. We deal with the fluff.
Messy
These guys
Ministry.
deal with the messy
.com.
ministry stuff. That's
I
right.
like it.
messyministry.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seth's been on it. Katie's been on it.
Wow.
I think they asked me to do something with transitions. I guess that's what happens when you get fired.
Never been asked. Never been asked.
Griff's never been asked, so
it's,
there you have
it's
it.
about right.
Mine was a niche.
Well, it's messy. Your life's not very messy. Everything's
You know
really
what?
put together.
Super messy.
That's right. Well,
I don't know.
no, who knows what's going on.
Seems like things are good.
Okay, well, definitely different podcasts without Douglas.
You know what? I think pretty stinking good.
Well,
think we were all right.
no doubt it was awesome.
We
but it's
answered
like
a lot of questions.
A lot of questions,
Totally.
a lot of giveaways, a lot of fun, but we're missing
But
the
it's-
mogul.
I
It's
know.
good. It'll be
the
good to have him
ministry
back.
mogul. That's right. I mean,
miss
it's
you,
like
Doug.
ice
It's not
cream.
the same.
Do you think there's any chance that Doug will actually watch this
Oh,
show
absolutely.
to this point?
He will watch every minute of it. Are you kidding me?
Definitely.
Really? Well, let's
Oh,
end. Let's end with
absolutely.
just a nice.
And callbacks.
How about
to
That's
everybody?
true.
What do we all say? One thing we like about Doug.
Okay.
One thing we appreciate about
to
Doug.
To him.
To-
Oh, to him.
to
All right,
Doug,
Katie, you go
I
first.
appreciate
This will be
your-
the easiest for you. Matt and I have to really think about it. We have a lot of baggage.
I appreciate that Doug has always valued me and encouraged me, like every
Yep,
step
yep.
of my youth ministry career.
Yeah. So that's good. Mine's very similar to that because I was working on my.
One up me.
I was gonna say,
know.
try to be original.
No, it's not one up. It's
Oh, okay.
it's just not original. Today I was working on my talk for a student leadership conference. Super excited about that's happening and get to give a talk. But part of it, I was thinking about how when I was in high school, I remember as a junior walking up to Doug and I said, "Hey, do you think I feel like God's calling me to ministry? Do you think I could do this?" And he looked at me and he's real serious and he's like, "Man, Matt, I think you do whatever it is that God's calling you to do." And it just was one of those moments that was like total belief, total value.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
that's cool.
Wow, you guys totally stole mine.
Yeah, be original. Way to one up.
No, I do think that is one of Doug's absolute
He's
strengths.
encouraging,
He
yeah.
believes in people. You
Totally.
feel that he
Seriously.
believes in
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So
He does.
I'm very thankful for that.
Okay, so you can come up with something different?
No,
then?
I'm fine with that. That's good. I love you, Doug.
Okay.
Thanks for
We all love Doug. We do.
Thanks for
This is
everything.
great.
All right.
I think I love
Are
you
we
guys
just
a little bit
ending?
more.
Is that it? Is that it?
We're
We're
gonna hit the
done?
button. Do you want to hit the button to end it?
Oh yeah, do it.
Come on, just this one right here. If you hit the wrong one, it's gonna
I
blow
like
up.
my rule of just drinking my beverage.
Oh, this was delicious.
And you
Thank you.
dispense wisdom. What are you talking about?
Yeah, a little bit.
Say, my name's Katie. I dispense wisdom.
Hey,
No, I'm not.
land
What?
the plane.
You can't
Land the
say
plane.
that?
We got to end this thing.
I'm landing it. My name's
I'm
Katie.
not
I
saying
dispense
that.
She
wisdom.
dispenses wisdom.
No. Oh, that hurts. No conviction.
That's a weird thing to
It's
say.
weird.
Why is that weird,
weird.
to say?
All right.
Well, because I'm not you.
Oh gosh. What a way.
That's the way to end
You're
it right
seriously
there.
not going to tell him you believe in what you say?
I do believe in what I say. I just can't say I dispense.